I am 91 years old. My name is Mark. If I were a used car, I would have been recalled by the factory about 20 years ago. The parts are wearing out. The suspension is gone. The headlights are fading. And do not even get me started on the exhaust system. But the engine, the mind, it is still turning over. Somehow, I am sitting here in what people refer to as the golden years. Let me tell you something. Whoever came up with that phrase must have been selling hearing aids or adult diapers. It is not gold. It is more like a faded, rusty beige. I spend my days wrestling with child-proof caps on pill bottles and trying to recall why I walked into the kitchen in the first place. The highlight of my week is finding out whether the recycling truck actually shows up on Tuesday or whether they quietly moved it to Wednesday again. But the one advantage of being this old, apart from the senior discount at the movie theater that saves me exactly $2, is that I have a very clear view of the playing field. I am sitting way up in the bleachers, watching the whole game unfold, and I can see you down there. You, the 45-year-olds, the 55-year-olds, the people running around like headless chickens in business casual clothing. I see you because I used to be you. I see you checking your watch. I see you shouting into your Bluetooth earpiece in the middle of a grocery store aisle. I see the stress lines carved into your forehead like a road map of every bad decision you have ever made. And I need to have a serious conversation with you before my afternoon nap, because frankly, you are making a complete mess of things. The title of this little talk is Do Not Sleepwalk. And I do not mean hitting the snooze button on a Saturday morning, although I suspect you feel guilty about that too. What I mean is that you are sleepwalking through the only life you are ever going to get. You are in a coma, a comfortable, air-conditioned, high-speed internet coma. You are obsessed with time management, are you not? You have the apps on your phone. You have the calendar with the color-coded blocks, blue for meetings, green for the gym you never actually go to, red for the kids' soccer practice. You manage time as though it were a project. You treat it like water running from a faucet, as if you can leave it running while you brush your teeth and there will always be more. You believe there is a reservoir somewhere that never empties. You think that if you just arrange the blocks correctly, if you just wake up at 5 in the morning and drink your green juice, you will somehow come out on top. I am here to tell you, as a man who can see the bottom of the well, that the faucet is dripping and the handle is broken. You are living under a powerful delusion that you are somewhere in the middle of your life. You look at the statistics and think, I am 45. I have got another 40 years ahead of me. You assume the second half of the game will last just as long as the first. But you are forgetting about injuries. You are forgetting about unexpected delays. You are forgetting that the stadium lights can go out without any warning at all. Let us talk about your career. Oh, the career. The big, important job. You are a senior vice president of something or other, or a regional manager of synergy and logistics. It sounds very impressive. I imagine it looks wonderful on your professional profile. I bet your mother loves telling her friends that her child is in strategic solutions. But let me ask you something honestly. When you are sitting in that 3-hour meeting on a Tuesday afternoon, talking about quarterly deliverables and circling back to touch base, do you actually feel alive? Or do you feel like a piece of office furniture that has learned how to nod? I knew a man named Gary. Gary was relentless. We worked together in Chicago back in the 80s. Gary was the kind of man who would check stock prices at a funeral. Gary had a plan. He always had a plan. He told me, Mark, I am going to grind until I am 55. I am going to make partner. I am going to stack the money. And then at 55, I am going to buy a vineyard in Oregon and make Pinot Noir. Gary worked 6 days a week for 30 years. He missed his son's baseball games. He missed his anniversary dinners. He ate lunch at his desk every single day, usually a turkey sandwich with mustard, eaten with one hand while he typed with the other. He was a machine. He was the model employee. Gary had a massive heart attack at 52, right there at his desk, face down in that turkey sandwich. And do you know what his company did? Did they build a statue of Gary in the lobby? Did they retire his employee number like a sports jersey? Did they close the office for a week of mourning? No. They sent a tasteful floral arrangement to the widow, a very respectable bouquet of lilies. And by the following Monday, a 28-year-old named Kyle was sitting in Gary's chair. Kyle was using Gary's stapler. Kyle was complaining that Gary's computer was too slow. Kyle had no idea about the vineyard. Kyle did not know that Gary had a son who played baseball. Kyle only knew that the quarterly report was due on Thursday. Gary gave his life, literally gave his beating heart, for a company that replaced him faster than they replaced the toner in the copy machine. And when I look at you, I see Gary. I see that same look in your eyes. You are trading your present happiness for a future reward that may never arrive. You are suffering today in order to live tomorrow. That is the contract you signed, but it is a fraudulent contract. You tell yourself, I will take the trip after the next promotion. I will write the book when I retire. I will learn to paint once the kids move out. Let me give you a hard fact from a 91-year-old man. There is no later. There is only now. And if you are trading your now for a later that is not even guaranteed, you are making the worst bet in the entire history of gambling. You think your job title defines you. You think the letters after your name carry real weight. They do not. When you are sitting where I am sitting, nobody cares whether you are a vice president of sales. The nurse who brings me my soup has no interest in my quarterly earnings from 1995. My grandchildren never ask me about my efficiency strategies. Your career is a transaction. You are selling the hours of your life, hours you will never get back, to build someone else's empire. And listen, I am not telling you not to work. I am not telling you to be idle. I am telling you not to worship at the altar of your career. It will not love you back. It will not hold your hand when the lights go out. You are sleepwalking down the hallways of your office, believing you are the main character in some great story about business success. But to the universe, you are background noise, and the clock is ticking so loudly that I can hear it from here, even with my damaged hearing. Can you hear it? Tick, tick, tick. That is not the sound of time passing. That is the sound of your life draining away while you are stuck in yet another video call. Wake up. All right, you are still here. You did not rush back to your desk to answer an email. That is a good start. Now that we have established that your job is not going to love you back, let us talk about your possessions. The accumulation, the kingdom of things. I look at your generation and I feel anxious on your behalf. You are consumed by the collection of objects. You have the large house in the suburbs with the granite countertops and the finished basement. You have the luxury SUV with the heated seats and the 14 cup holders. Why do you need 14 cup holders? How many drinks can one person possibly manage at the same time? You have a garage stuffed with things you have not touched since the mid-90s. Be honest with me. You have a kayak hanging from the ceiling in your garage, do you not? When did you last use that kayak? Do not lie to me. That kayak has a family of spiders living inside it now. That is their kayak. You are simply paying the mortgage on their behalf. You have the bread maker, the pasta maker, the espresso machine that requires an engineering degree to operate. You are buying things to fill a hole inside your soul. But let me tell you, the hole is not shaped like a jet ski. I used to be exactly like you. I was the king of accumulation. I wanted the world to know that I had made something of myself. I bought a large colonial house on a hill. It was 4,000 square feet. It had columns at the front. It looked like a bank. I spent 40 years paying for that house. I spent my weekends repairing the roof, mowing 2 acres of lawn, and lying awake worrying about the property taxes. We had a formal living room. Do you have one of those? A room that exists purely to be looked at. Ours had white carpet, pristine white carpet, in a house with 3 muddy boys and 2 dogs. That room was not a living space. It was a minefield. We were all terrified to set foot in there. If you stepped on that carpet, my wife would look at you as if you had committed a serious crime. It was a museum exhibit inside our own home. And now I live in a room the size of a walk-in closet. I have a bed that adjusts up and down with a remote. I have a nightstand. I have a television that plays reruns of old game shows, and I have a photograph of my wife. And do you know what? I do not miss the white carpet. I do not miss the maintenance. I do not miss the anxiety of owning things. All that stuff you are working 60 hours a week to pay for. It is just future garbage. That is all it is. It is a loan you are taking out against your own freedom. I have attended a great many funerals in my time. I have never, not once, seen a moving truck following a hearse. You cannot take the commemorative plates with you. You cannot take the leather sectional sofa. When you go, your children are not going to treasure your belongings. They are going to hire someone with a dumpster to clear it all away. They will sell your antique dining table for $50 just to get it out of the house. That is the final destination of your materialism. You are exchanging your life energy for things that will eventually end up in a landfill. So stop it. Stop buying things to impress neighbors you do not even particularly like. The neighbors do not care about your new car. They are far too preoccupied with their own payments to notice. Now let us talk about your body. This is where things get a little darker, so brace yourself. You are 45 or 50. You are starting to notice the deterioration, are you not? You stand up from the couch and you make a noise like a rusty gate. You groan. You say things like, "Oh, my back." You look in the mirror and wonder who that older person staring back at you is. You notice that your hair is migrating, leaving your head and reappearing in your ears and your nose. It is one of nature's crueler jokes. But listen to me carefully. To me, you are Superman. You still hold the golden ticket. You can walk without a cane. You can see without cataracts clouding everything. You can eat a steak without worrying about your dentures. You can still run for a bus if you absolutely have to, even if you need a moment to catch your breath afterward. You have this extraordinary functioning body. You have your health. And what do you do with it? You sit. You sit in a chair for 10 hours a day, staring at a glowing screen. Then you move to a softer chair to stare at a larger glowing screen. You are sedating yourself. You treat your health like a rental car you have bought the extra insurance on. You think you can abuse it, neglect it, fuel it with junk, and simply trade it in when it breaks down. You cannot. I would give every penny I ever earned to have your bad knee. I would give everything to have your aching back if it meant I could walk outside right now and feel the wind against my face without holding on to a walker. You are complaining about getting older. Stop it. Getting old is a privilege. It is a privilege that was denied to many people I have known and loved. My friend Jack died at 19 in Korea. He never got to have a bad back. He never got to have gray hair. So here is my challenge to you when it comes to your physical existence. Stop numbing yourself. You come home from your stressful job and you pour a glass of wine, or perhaps 3. You turn on the streaming service and you check out completely. You drift away into nothing. You are essentially placing yourself in suspended animation until the alarm goes off the next morning. That is not living. That is merely existing. That is just running down the clock. I want you to feel something real. Go outside. I do not care if it is cold. Feel the cold. Let it sting your cheeks. Go for a walk. Run until your lungs are burning. That burning sensation is life itself. That is your body telling you it is still here, still ready to serve you. Do not wait until you are sitting in this chair, looking at your swollen ankles, wishing you had climbed that mountain when you still had the chance. The mountain is still there. Your legs still work. Go climb it. Now let us get to the part that genuinely matters. We have talked about the job. We have talked about the stuff. We have talked about the body. But those are just the scenery. Now we need to talk about the people sharing the stage with you, your relationships. I observe couples at restaurants. I enjoy watching people. It costs nothing, and it teaches you more than most things. I see couples who have been together for 20 years, sitting across from each other in complete silence, and not the warm, comfortable silence of two people who truly know each other. It is the heavy, suffocating silence of two people who have run out of things to say to one another. Or worse, you are both on your phones. You are scrolling through other people's holiday photographs while ignoring the actual living, breathing human being sitting 3 feet away from you. You are physically present, but emotionally somewhere else entirely. You tell yourself you will fix things in the relationship later. You say, "We will reconnect when the children leave for college. We will rediscover each other when we retire and take that cruise." Let me tell you about my wife, Martha. Martha was chaotic. She was loud. She had a laugh that could rattle a window frame. And she was a genuinely terrible cook. She burned the toast every single morning for 50 years. Every morning the kitchen would fill with smoke. And every morning I would sit there and grumble. I would scrape the black parts off into the sink and complain under my breath. I used to think, why can this woman not simply learn to operate a toaster? It is not complicated. Martha passed away 6 years ago. The house is very quiet now, far too quiet. And every single morning I sit at my table with my perfectly toasted golden brown bread. And I would give every penny I have, every achievement, every promotion, every single thing I ever accumulated, just to smell that burnt toast one more time. I would give anything to have her interrupting my reading to tell me a story I had already heard 1,000 times. You are taking people for granted. You are assuming they will still be there when you finally decide to look up from your laptop. That is a dangerous assumption. The odds are not in your favor. You are holding on to grudges. You have not spoken to your brother in 2 years over some political argument at a holiday dinner. Are you serious? Do you honestly think that argument is going to matter when you are standing at his graveside? It will not. All that will matter is the time you wasted on being right instead of being a brother. So here is your wake-up call. Here is the bucket of cold water straight to the face. You are not going to live forever. In fact, statistically speaking, you are well past the halfway point. The halftime show is over. The band is packed up. The cheerleaders have gone home. You are in the third quarter, and the clock is moving faster than it did in the first half. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a fiction invented by people too afraid to actually live. You want to write that book? Write it. It might be terrible. Who cares? Write it anyway. You want to learn to play guitar? Do it. You might irritate the neighbors. Good. Let them be irritated. You want to go to Italy? Book the ticket. Put it on the card if you have to. Experiences hold their value in a way that money simply does not. And for everything that is good and holy, put your ego away. Your ego is your enemy. You are so afraid of looking foolish, so afraid of what people will say, so afraid of failing. I am 91 years old. I have failed more times than you have even attempted things. I have made terrible investments. I have worn embarrassing clothing. I have said entirely the wrong thing at dinner parties. And do you know what? Nobody remembers. Nobody cares. We are all just tiny specks drifting on a rock in the middle of an infinite universe. The only thing that truly matters is how much joy you created while you were here, and how many people you made smile along the way. So here is my final instruction to you. I want you to go home tonight and do something radical. Leave your phone in the car. Leave it there. The emails will wait. The news will wait. Walk into your house and kiss your partner the way you would if you were about to be separated for a long time. Not a quick peck on the cheek, a real kiss. Remind them that you actually see them. Get down on the floor and play with your dog until you are both completely out of breath. Call your mother. Even if she tells you the same story about her hip surgery for the 100th time, sit there and listen to it, because one day the phone will stop ringing, and silence is the loudest sound there is. Do not be like me. Do not wait until you are 91 to understand that the white carpet never mattered. Do not wait until the very end to realize you missed the whole thing because you were checking your messages. The ledger is closing, my friends. The final tally is being counted. And the only currency that means anything at the end is not the balance in your bank account. It is the memories living inside your head and the love that lives inside your heart. I am tired now. The nurse will be here soon with my pills. Being this wise is genuinely exhausting. But you are still in the game. You are still on the field. The ball is in your hands. Do not let the clock run out while you are sitting on the bench. Get up and go live.